Guts is the second episode of The Walking Dead's first season and picks right up where Days Gone By left off, with Rick trapped in a tank in the middle of Atlanta and surrounded by walkers. We see more of the group of survivors he was able to contact by radio in the previous episode, including Laurie and Shane, who are confirmed to be having a full-blown affair, and one that makes Laurie feel somewhat guilty, judging by how she hesitates before removing her wedding ring. And the person who contacted Rick in the tank is revealed to be among another set of survivors from the same group, who had travelled into the city to gather supplies but are now hiding in a department store thanks to Rick alerting all the walkers. We're introduced to Glenn Rhee, played by Stephen Yeun, described by everyone as the heart of the show, with comic creator Robert Kirkman stating that the character is essential in keeping the series from being the unrelenting, depressing thing that it definitely has potential to be. Best demonstrated by the end scene of the episode, where the character had last been seen acting as a decoy to lure the walkers away from the others, and is seen safely speeding down the highway. Characters like Glenn are extremely important in shows like this, where the world can often be dark, brutal, and unforgiving, but it's very important to have elements of hope because, after all, who wants to watch a story where the main characters have no chance of winning or happiness? And as this episode demonstrates, Glenn is significantly more than just comic relief or a ray of light in a dark world. He's also a man with a lot of quick thinking who uses his wits to get out of bad situations, and it's those qualities that really make him an asset to the team. In a list by Rolling Stone ranking the 30 best Walking Dead characters, Glenn placed 6th. This is also the first appearance of Andrea, played by Laurie Holden, who had been directed by Frank Darabont twice before in The Mist and The Majestic. She read through the comics to prepare and became very excited when she learned how Andrea eventually evolves into a warrior, with this being far more physical than some of her previous roles. Andrea belongs to an interesting collection of female characters in the early 2010 shows, such as Arya from Game of Thrones or Neva and Mira from Spartacus. They start out as civilians and are thrust into situations that require them to learn how to fight, and they develop into strong warriors. Films and TV shows often just separated female characters into those who were either already fighters or non-action civilians, essentially a tomboy and a girly girl dynamic, and it still feels rare even today to actually show a character evolving from one to the other. It's best underlined by Andrea initially threatening Rick with a gun, and later revealing that she has never fired it before, and despite being at odds with Rick, it's soon clear that there's something between them, which will prove convenient when Rick inevitably finds out about how quickly Laurie has moved on. And although Andrea doesn't have a lot to do in this particular episode, Laurie Holden is especially captivating with how she blends aggression and softness. We also meet T-Dog, Jackie, and Morales, and then there's Merle Dixon, whose brother Daryl would be a more prominent character in subsequent episodes. And in a lot of media made during the Obama administration, a fail-safe way to quickly establish a character as an irredeemable jackass was to have them casually say the N-word to a black character. Merle's quickly served narrative karma by getting beaten up by Rick and handcuffed to a pipe, guarded by the very man he threw a slur at. And when the time comes to escape from the walkers, although T-Dog decides he can't leave Merle to die, he trips over and drops the key to the handcuffs, meaning he has to leave behind Merle. Merle is played by Michael Rooker, and Robert Kirkman was very pleased at this casting, having been a fan of his performance in the Kevin Smith comedy Mallrats, saying that it became the Michael Rooker show for this one episode. Guts is a good 20 minutes shorter than Days Gone By, and as a result is much faster paced and reliant on action. First, as Rick has to escape the tank, Glenn and Morales have to search the sewers for a possible way out, and then finally Rick and Glenn have to go among the walkers to take a discarded man. How do they do? Well, remember that the episode is titled Guts. Do not watch this while you're eating, as I found out the hard way. Since the walkers distinguish between themselves and the living by smell, Glenn and Rick dismember a corpse and cover themselves in their entrails to hide in plain sight. The final 10 minutes of the episode are a near perfect blend of horror movie style tension as Glenn and Rick dress as the enemy, and action movie excitement as the survivors make their escape. The episode ends on a more positive note than the first, with everyone getting away, except the racist redneck we're not supposed to care about. Guts received a 4.5 million viewership when it aired, which was slightly less than Days Gone By, and was also received more lukewarmly compared to the latter. But it was clear that the show was well and truly going to be a hit. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and comment down below what else you would like me to do reviews on.